Today on Locked On Red Wings, Thomas Greiss stands on his head to beat the New York Rangers 3-2 in the shootout.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Woo! Scotty! What a win.
What a game, baby.
Oh, man. Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. We are your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley. And Scotty is also host at Locked On Tigers. Thanks for making us your first listen every single day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. Out of the way, Scotty, let's just get right into this thing. Let's tear this apart.
What
the Red
a
Wings,
game, man.
Dude,
The boys are buzzing.
Energy up here right now. I'm one of those people who, when he gets really excited, I just don't know what to say because all my thoughts are swirling. I'm like, how do I form a coherent sentence? And that's what it feels like after the Red Wings go to Madison Square Garden, play on really crappy ice, and come out with a win over top a very good team, third in the Metropolitan Division, 3-2 in the shootout. Thanks, and we got to mention him first and foremost. Thanks to Thomas Greiss putting a 38 save performance against the New York Rangers. Absolutely insane.
Plus I love on his head in a shootout. Gave up, one goal the entire shootout?
He did. So 37 total saves is the accurate number. And Scotty, he was just phenomenal in this game.
He was unreal. And even the goals he gave up were not even like brutal, that was a bad play by the Tendy or whatever. They were he was phenomenal. He was unbelievable, probably his performance of the year. And he continues the narrative that if you go on our Twitter, follow our Twitter, by the way, at LO_Red Wings, right?
Yes, that's it. And subscribe on our YouTube while you're at it.
Yeah, while you're at it. I tweeted out a picture of a father holding his son.
Yeah,
and I photoshopped Thomas Greiss's face on the dad and the New York Rangers on the son because it's been his whole career. That's like the narrative that Thomas Greiss just owns the New York Rangers. He's now 4-0-0 all time in Madison Square Garden, and he is 6-0-1 all time against the New York Rangers, period. He dominates the Rangers. He is to quote Pedro Martinez, the Rangers should just call him daddy. That's for real. That's what's up. Thomas Greiss was in fuego.
Something about Detroit Red Wings goaltenders and being really good in New York is insane to me. Because I remember Jimmy Howard was another one of those goaltenders that dominated at Madison Square Garden. I remember one time he had a 40-save shutout, 1-0 win against them, and I think one of his first losses against the Rangers came in overtime when he put up a ton of saves. Greiss was absolutely
he was a dog.
Yeah, brick.
He
just
was
a brick
dog.
Wall. And it furthers this narrative that I've had in my head that he's like a second half of the season goaltender, because I remember last year he was the same exact way. In the first half of the season, he was dog crap. He was awful. Second half of the season, all of a sudden the light turns on and he shuts everyone down. He comes off of COVID after missing 5 weeks, plays great against the Flyers on Saturday, and now we're recording this on Thursday night, he has 37 saves against one of the best teams in the Metropolitan Division and one of the I'll argue up and coming teams in the league. Not elite yet, not elite tier, but definitely going to be one of the mainstays in years to come. It gets to a point, we talked about this a lot earlier in the season with Alexander Nedeljkovic and, riding the hot goaltender. And it's a lot easier to make that argument when that goaltender you want to ride is the goaltender of the future. So the question I pose now is, do we stick to our guns and we maintain that argument that, Nedeljkovic is, I struggle to want to say slump. He's had a couple of rough games recently, but with Thomas Greiss having back-to-back stellar performances, do you just, after we have a week off before we play Colorado at LCA, do you just dole him out there again off two hot performances?
No. I'm throwing Ned back out there. And look, I don't want this to turn into like Greiss did great, but like I don't want that to be that because I want to focus on how phenomenal he was. But no, look, Ned is the starter, and Ned should continue to be the starter. And one good performance against a team again that he always dominates should not really be like a now Greiss should come in and get way more playing time. And it would take a lot more. It would take like 3 to 5 more solid performances from Greiss and like 2 to 3 weeks of Ned struggling, honestly, for me to get there. I'm pretty heavily sent on continuing Ned being not only just 1A, 1B, but just one. And there's a lot of reasons. I mean, confidence in the young kid, whatever. What's the word I'm thinking of? Not like situation, but repetitiveness of just routine.
Yes. Program.
Ridiculous. If you listen to Locked On Tigers, you get that one. But the routine of being, like you're going to get the job most days, and you'll know when you're not. It's not going to be a surprise ever. I think that's all really important to keep in Ned's head. But again, nothing to take away from Greiss tonight. He was phenomenal and easily the biggest reason why they got the win.
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't hate if Jeff Blashill said, ride the hot hand, see if Greiss can get us another win, stand on his head against the Colorado Avalanche. But I do completely agree with you that if I were to choose a goaltender, it would be Ned. And a big part of that would be confidence, especially, I want to keep calling him a young goaltender. He's technically a rookie for the second year in a row, but he's also 25 years old. So he's not necessarily like a young kid anymore. But when you're trying to make a guy your starter, if you're willing to give up on him the moment he has a rough game or two and put your backup in there, that does take a huge shot at your confidence. Now, Jeff Blashill has shown confidence in Nedeljkovic in the past where he's had a rough game and he's thrown Ned back out there and Ned's bounced back. So I do think Nedeljkovic will start, especially against one of the league's elite in the Colorado Avalanche on next Wednesday. But if he did decide to go with Greiss because he's hot, I wouldn't necessarily hate it, but he wouldn't still be my first choice. But again, not taking away anything from that stellar performance he got against the Rangers. I mean, the amount of crazy saves he made where he shouldn't have had to make a save because his defense failed to stop the play from even forming.
Let me just say, he should be Dwayne Wade pouring a bottle of champagne over that right pad tonight. He should be pouring a bottle of champagne over his right leg. That right pad, that thing was working. That thing went to work tonight. So many right pad side saves, man, with the leg. Phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. There was one where he just barely got like the blade of his skate on it on a nasty rebound that it bounced off. Can't remember what forward skate. I think it bounced off Kreider's skate, or was it Kreider that got stuffed? Regardless, it bounced off a skate in front, went right to the player along the side net, and he's athletic goaltender. Like he'd do 36 years old. I don't think so. He was playing like a 25-year-old tonight.
He looked great, man.
Great. And to do that against Igor Shesterkin, who we were talking last night about with John Chick of the Locked On New York Rangers as not even being a Vezina candidate, but maybe even being a Hart candidate, to do that against a guy with a .938 save percentage on the other end of at the other end of the ice is just absolutely
unreal.
Phenomenal, man. Unreal. Ridiculous. Insert any adjective here.
Yeah.
Like, it was insane.
It was. And like I said, he deserves all the credit in the world. And going into, I think another reason why I think you go Ned is with the week break in between games. I mean, then you're looking at what, a week and a half.
Yeah, like how hot can you be after a week?
Well, honestly, more so for Ned's side in my head. Like, what, he's going to be your starting goalie, but you're going to give him borderline 2 weeks off.
That's true.
I don't know. I get 2 weeks is not that's aggressive. Like a week and a half off. I mean, that's, you know what I mean. That's just, again, routine is, I think, big for starting goaltenders. And as I think you still ride with Ned. That being said, Greiser was the man tonight.
If you want to be the man in your fantasy hockey group, make sure you go to betonline.net. football season might be over, but hockey is in full stream for both pro and college hoops. From the latest odds, totals, player performance props to where the next coach is going to land, BetOnline.net is the number one spot for all your sports betting needs. BetOnline remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just hockey. BetOnline.net is your best source for basketball, boxing, and UFC odds right to your Olympic coverage and information. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline.
BetOnline.
Where the game starts. I also want to give some props to Scotty. Philip Peronic made a couple of really nice plays too. He had a really nice 2-on-1 that he broke up with his stick.
Is that the one where the 2-on-1 where he kind of like flipped it there at the end? Yeah.
He had a pretty solid game defensively from what I saw. Seider, of course, but again, outside of the defense struggles, it's going to be our weak point. That and penalty kill and power play, special teams and defense.
It was also
get better.
Yeah, and that's been a reoccurring theme. That's not news to anybody, but it was wild too. Like the first, and this is kind of a broken record too at this point. The first 7 minutes of the game, the Red Wings looked like the best hockey team on the planet.
You're saying they showed up in the first period?
I know. I'm just it was wild. Like they did. I don't think the Rangers got a shot off until the 5 or 6 minute mark. Like
Troy
straight
Stecher,
up a single shot, and then they ended with 40.
Yeah.
So but yeah, Stech
got his first goal of the season off of the deflection, man. It was
incredible.
No, I mean you're spot on. Or another reoccurring theme of the Detroit Red Wings is they come out flying in the first period, and then just because defensively they're so weak, and they had the edge in power plays in this game too, but their power play is so god awful. Their penalty kill is bad. The game tying goal that made it 2-2 was a power play goal for the New York Rangers. So, no matter how much Greiss stood on his head, it wasn't enough because the game still went to overtime because the deficiencies of this team showed their ugly head again. But we're not focusing on the negatives today. It's a good win against a very good team.
Big boy win.
Big boy win. Dylan Larkin also had another goal. So
he had a phenomenal game, man. He was the defense was not great. Dylan Larkin had a couple of damn good defensive plays.
Yeah, he's
especially there. Was it the end of the third, or was it even
overtime?
No, it was the very end of the third. The one where he had the stick lift, because that sent it to overtime, wasn't it?
Was it? I could have sworn that was overtime where he did that. You talking about where he caught up with the breakaway?
Yeah.
Regardless, I think that was overtime.
I believe you. I thought it was the end of the third to send it to OT, but it might have been the end of OT to send it to the shootout. Either way, phenomenal. He had an incredible play there. He's just so fast. Like it never fails to amaze me how good of a skater he is, and that helped him a ton tonight defensively. Helped him a ton tonight, being in the right place at the right time for a very totally on purpose Danny Dekeyser brilliant pass. All around another great game for the captain.
Well, and a little points update too. He's got now 52 points in 46 games, still sitting 6 points above point per game. Absolutely phenomenal.
I remember when he dipped below. He dipped for a game. He dipped below a point a game.
And we're like, oh, he's cooling off. Here we go.
Like, uh-oh, and then just heater, baby.
Yeah. And what's funny too is in overtime, whenever he touches the puck, I was like, because of what you said, he's so fast. I've gotten to a point now, whenever he touches the puck in overtime, I'm like, this could be the game ender.
Run it.
Because he's just going to blow by the defender and get to the net.
Run it. Yes, exactly.
Like, give Larkin the puck. And they tried a trick play in overtime, too. I don't know if you caught that, where Larkin won the faceoff back, and they tried to flip it above everyone to Lucas Raymond, who was breaking down the middle.
Yeah. Larkin, after he flipped it, he got that on one knee. He was like Adrian Beltre. He got that on one knee, and he was like watching it like this. Yeah.
Well, and it's just the creativity's there, which also speaks to how much fun they're having. Like, they're trying things that are not atypical. Because they're having so much fun. Moritz Seider also had an assist on Dylan Larkin's goal. But really the assist we got to talk about, Danny Dekeyser's assist, the primary assist.
Totally on purpose.
Totally
100%.
On purpose.
Definitely on purpose.
He, I don't know if it was on purpose or an accident, but I'm giving him credit either way.
It was on purpose.
He took a slap shot from the blue line, and it came off the boards perfectly to Dylan Larkin.
If it's on purpose, it's one of the best passes of the season.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it was beautiful. It was gorgeous, dog. Like, it was unreal.
If we're going to give Danny Dekeyser crap for when he's bad, you got to give him credit when he does something good. And that was something that was very good. And that's what gave the Red Wings the lead. Ultimately, again, because when Red Wings penalty kill sucks, it didn't last, but it was still, Larkin got on the board because of that. Just Larkin, man. This man. So let me get this straight. Moritz Seider is 10th among NHL defensemen, not even rookies, NHL defensemen in points. First of all, that's amazing. Norris Trophy votes coming his way. I'm not saying he'll win it. I'm not saying he'll get first place votes, but he's going to get a couple Norris Trophy votes.
Yeah, oh yeah, he can get 12th. Sure, why not?
Calder is essentially a lock at this point because unless he has a horrible last.
Zegras had another flashy goal tonight.
Did he? I did not see it.
He did.
I'll have to check that out.
It wasn't a Michigan or nothing, but
Moritz Seider's I don't want to get into the Calder conversation again. It's not where I'm trying to go.
No.
But Dylan Larkin with another goal. He's in the top 10, maybe even top 8 in goals in the league right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, this team's pieces are all
top 3 in 5-on-5 goals.
Yeah. His pieces are the pieces are there. Now it's just fleshing out the roster to, fixing the special teams, fixing defense.
The foundation's there. The groundwork is there. Now it's just adding all the other pieces around the foundation that we have, for sure.
But, Scotty, let me ask you this.
Yes, I will marry you. I told you, man.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. I don't know how Allison's going to take that. But
Dylan Larkin.
Rough news to break. Dylan Larkin, the Hart Trophy. Is he in the conversation?
I think he should be getting votes. Yeah, yes, very much so. You talked earlier about how many points he's got. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm not going to get on my soapbox and say that he should be winning it or at this point in the season probably even have a top 3 finish. But he should absolutely at the after game 82 when you pull up Hockey Ref and you look at Dylan Larkin's name for this season, there should be Hart - 8 or something. You know what I mean?
Dude, he's been so hot.
He should be. He should absolutely be in this conversation. And if he maintains this level for the rest of the season, it's only going to get higher and higher. Because again, we're talking about a dude who a month ago was not having a bad year by any stretch, but was a point under. Like I said earlier, for a game or two, he got to a point under a point a game, and now he's comfortably above it. I mean, this is if he maintains that, and if the Red Wings go on a heater, that might be honestly the biggest thing is the Red Wings. If the Red Wings can string together a few wins here,
maybe even squeak into the playoffs, especially
if the Red Wings make the playoffs. Dylan Larkin for the Hart. You heard it.
Well, he's currently on pace for 93 points, which, the Hart Trophy tends to go to, your guy who gets the scoring title too. It's always a forward, stuff like that.
If you hit a hundo, that's big. Yeah.
He's on pace for 93 points, would blow his career best off the hinges. Yeah. He's taken his game to another level this season. And without a doubt, I think he might be. Without a doubt, he is the most valuable player on this team this season. There are several other players that have been great. I mean, Moritz Seider, I would argue, has been the second most important player on this team this season. Bert's been great. Raymond's been great. Nedeljkovic has been great. Other players have been very good, but up there. But when it comes to legitimate Hart conversation, Dylan Larkin.
I agree. Couldn't agree more.
How do I?
You know what else I couldn't agree more on?
How good Built Bars are?
Yes.
Thank you. I was struggling how to transition that one. Man, your segue game's on fire tonight, Scotty. This is the time of year we've all pretty much given up on our New Year's resolutions, but not this year. We are sticking to this because we need to eat right, and it's all thanks to Built Bar. It almost feels like it's not really a resolution because we actually enjoy eating them.
Good.
They are so good, especially those puffs, man. If you haven't tried them, you're missing out because they're one of Built Bar's best tasting bars. Puffs are the first ever protein-infused marshmallow. They're fluffy. They're marshmallowy. They're not just a protein bar. They're a treat, and they're covered in 100% real chocolate. All Built Bars are covered in 100% chocolate. That's all of them, not just the puffs. The bars, too. Low calorie, high protein. Replace your candy bars with these. They are better. A typical candy bar can be anywhere from 200 to 300 calories, but Built Bars are only 130 calories with 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. So go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. I love how we do .com, man. It's fun. It's fun for me. Man, God, there's still so much to cover with this game.
Can we really quickly just do the Giovanni thing? Just real quick. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Had a little bit of a rough hit, and led to a fight. Just dog walked the dude in the fight, by the way. But the main thing was the hit. And there were a little bit of controversy around the hit. We ended up getting on the power play after, which is remarkable to me.
Pretty good reffing there.
Yeah, very, very little sus for sure. The hit itself, it wasn't on the boards, which makes it certainly look a lot better. I mean, in the first period, Raymond got cross-checked face first into the boards, and there was no even stoppage of the
Shocker.
game. No, clearly no penalty, nothing. And it was like legitimately dangerous. And Giovanni's was just it wasn't a cross check or anything. It was just a hard hit from the back, and he hit him right in the numbers. It wasn't against the boards. Do I love the hit? No, I don't. I think you probably got to be a little more heads up out there about like the situation and that the skater you're about to hit and everything. But that being said, it wasn't called. And then, or we were on the power play at least. And then, a minute later, Fabry gets called for a pretty weak tripping call.
Yeah, I think there was 14 seconds left in the power play.
Yeah, a pretty weak tripping call. And then New York almost immediately scores a power play goal at the hands of that call. Not a great situation for Fabry to be in. You're on the exact opposite end of your goal. You're literally as far away as you could possibly be from your net. You're getting a tripping call that puts them on a power play. He's had a couple of really untimely penalties, but it was kind of a soft call. Probably is somewhat of a makeup for
absolutely
the Giovanni situation.
A makeup.
Right.
This is what got was it Tim Peel fired?
Right. Yeah.
Makeup
exactly.
calls. He got caught on mic saying it.
Right. Exactly. So it's the whole situation starts with the hit. I don't love the hit. I don't. But Raymond's didn't get called. Yours doesn't get called.
Yeah. No. You can't. Here's the thing: is those hits were 2 separate hits. Right. Were they both deserving of penalties? Yes. But just because you didn't call one doesn't mean you shouldn't call the other. In my eyes, I would have been pissed if they didn't call the Raymond one, but they called the Giovanni Smith one. But they both deserved calls. Agreed. And the reason they didn't call the Giovanni Smith one is because it wasn't along the boards. But he still hit him from behind, which can still be. It's very, very dangerous, regardless of whether or not you're against the boards.
For sure,
because
definitely don't condone the hit.
You can't. Sure, no. It's still unsuspected, so you can't brace yourself for it.
Defenseless player kind of thing. If we're using NFL terminology, yeah.
Your head can snap back because you're getting hit from behind. You can get whiplash or worse. So regardless, the refs need to be way more consistent when calling these dangerous hits, especially boarding along the boards, but checks from behind in general.
So NHL player safety's taking a hit in their how everybody views them and their reputation for sure.
Yeah. So it just comes down to you got to be more consistent, and then you can't go and make makeup calls because makeup calls is one of the worst things that happens in the league,
especially when play stopped. Just call that then. Play literally stopped, and you talked about it. If you're gonna do a makeup call, why don't you just call the actual hit then? It's so stupid. So yeah, I just that was obviously a huge part of the game. It was a huge turning point. It tied the game up at that moment. It's the reason
still got the dub though.
Right, exactly. It's the reason we went into overtime and everything. So it was obviously a huge part of the game. But I think that was a pretty big part of the game to talk about, at least for a little bit.
Yeah. The other huge negative in this game was the ice was absolute crap. Horrible. Like it was mentioned many times on the broadcast. You could see it by watching it. In the shootout, 3 players lost handles of the puck trying to make a move.
Like playing street hockey.
It's awful.
With a lacrosse ball. It was horrid.
And it's Madison Square Garden's much like LCA hosts. I think I combined hosts and houses for hoses.
Yeah. Hey, I did that last week. Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Multiple teams. And so the ice quality can suffer. But a stadium that's been around as long as Madison Square Garden should have it perfected by now. LCA had some ice problems early in its existence, but has, for the most part, figured it out. For the fact that this is a problem that Madison Square Garden is facing now, this long after it's existed, is pretty embarrassing. And Dylan Larkin even confirmed in the post-game interview, the Bally Sports guys asked Larkin, like, the ice, like, what do you think? He's like, yeah, it was soft today. He said it was very warm, usually pretty good, but the ice, it was soft today. And
yeah, he did say, he was like, usually MSG has like some of the best ice, and he was like, today was not that day. And he was a pro about it. He was like, look, both teams got to play on it. You know what I mean? Which is true. But it was sloppy, man. It was sloppy.
But I mean, again, like Larkin said, both teams have to play on it. And while it was really hard to watch and sometimes kind of affected the viewing experience, you know, the viewing experience is secondary to the team getting the win, and they got the dub. I'm trying to think here. What else do I got here? Oh, dude, almost forgot how important this game was towards this team's playoff push. The locker room clearly wants to make the playoffs.
They want it, man. They want it.
And this is game number 2 in a really hard stretch for them. They just lost in Minnesota pretty badly. They bounce back against a very good New York Rangers team, get the win. This locker room wants it. Now they sit just 6 points out of a playoff spot behind the Boston Bruins, who do have 3 games in hand still. But I find it so hard to want to sell at the trade deadline when they're trying so hard. And this is the first taste of any moderate success the Red Wings have had in 4 years.
I think they're going to get through this 7. We talked about it last week. A really tough 7-game stretch, like 7 of the best teams in hockey all in a row. I think they're going to get through this 7, and then probably at that point, a decision will be made by the front office on whether to sell or not. It's definitely sell or stand pat. There's no way we're buying. We've talked about that a couple of times now. But I think they're going to get through this stretch of tough opponents and then kind of reevaluate. But
I think that makes sense.
Here's all I'm going to say. Don't let the boys get hot.
Well,
don't let the boys get hot.
I was about to say that this is a game that could get a team hot, but now they have a week off for the next one. Then they face one of the best teams in the NHL, granted at home. But
do not let the boys get hot.
I'm totally going to that game, by the way. I'm saying it now. I'm going to see Colorado as a fan.
Damn right. At NHL. Do not let the boys get hot.
I'm so pumped to see that game. Oh,
he said as a fan.
As a fan. Like, I'll be in a seat watching it for it's ironically enough, this is the first time I'll have seen a game at LCA since right before the pandemic, right before the season shut down in 2019.
That's a long time.
Yeah. And so it's only my second game ever at LCA as a fan. The last game I watched them play against Colorado.
Did we win?
No, they got shut out 3-0.
All right, never mind. Cut that. I didn't ask that.
Cut that.
Colorado, cool, man. Yeah, hopefully
awesome.
we can win. Yeah.
The last thing I got on my docket here is this was Mark Stahl's homecoming game. They did a nice little video tribute to him.
Oh, real quick. Zendaya and Tom Holland were at the game.
Yeah,
and the picture that they got of the two of them, Mark Stahl is in it.
It's his little tribute, and he's like waving his hand, and he's just.
There's 2, right? So there's one where he's like in it. Like his whole upper body is in it. He's got the hand in the air, and they're like, oh, look, Zendaya and Tom Holland. And then there's the second one, which is far. It is one of the funniest pictures I've ever seen in my life, where it's the 2 of them, and then it's just Mark Stahl. His eyes It's like cut off here, and it's just from here up, and it's just in the lower left-hand corner. He's just like peeking around the. Oh, it's so funny, bro. So funny.
But good for Mark Stahl. He got a nice little warm. He got a warm homecoming after what I would assume was a pretty rough end of that tenure there.
Yeah, the end was. I mean, that's why we got him, right? Yeah, the end was pretty rough. Yeah,
we got more in that trade than we gave up, essentially, and we were taking on a hefty contract, and he's turned into a nice depth defenseman for us.
He's wearing an A.
He got an A. He earned it. I like Mark Stahl. For what we're paying him, he's doing a good job.
Fine offensively. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Thank you for making Locked On Red Wings your first listen every day. Now make Locked On Bets your second listen. They're your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling news, hosted by your boy Q with expert insight and analysis from Lee Sterling. They're free and available on all platforms. Scotty, I don't have the thing up, right, so I can see you mocking me.
No, I was doing it too. Because I got to read it every day for Tigers.
Oh, okay. I thought you were making fun of me. I have a persecution complex.
This just assumes that I'm
sorry. Do I need to pull the receipts from Locked On Red Wings Twitter account?
I have not
you taken shots
ever
at me?
made fun of you.
How many bald jokes have you made?
I'm so sorry that our listeners are doing it now, by the way.
I honestly don't care. I think it's funny. Honestly, I'm more happy about the engagement than I am about upset about the bald jokes.
Never mind. Keep it rolling then, everybody. Keep it rolling.
I got over being bald years ago. It's fine. I saw that tweet today. I was like, strays, man. I didn't even do anything.
Literally on a baseball tweet. On a baseball tweet that was from my personal account. Like no mention of anything Brian at all. Just caught a stray.
I'm minding my own business at work, and all of a sudden you tag me, and I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, what the hell, dude? Like, what did I do? Oh, that was fun, though. Scotty, any final thoughts, buddy?
Stay frosty, and we ball.
Hashtag dynamic threat.
Dynamic threat Dylan. That's what I called him when he scored.
Yeah, you did. I saw that.
Dynamic threat Dylan,
and he's going to continue being that all season long until he gets that Hart trophy. Same time, same place. It's your team. Every day.
Every day.